October 29th, Saturday of the 30th week in Ordinary Time. In today's Gospel, Jesus warns against seeking prestige. It is good advice and something we all need to hear. So many young people, even children, are obsessed with their standing on social media, how many likes and followers they have, the reaction they get to their photos on Instagram or their videos on TikTok. Negative reactions, or worse yet, indifference, can send them into deep depression, leaving them with a sense that their lives are worthless and no one cares. Older adults play their own prestige games, competing to see who has the fanciest car, the most expensive watch, the most impressive job title, the most spectacular home, the highest intelligence, or the juiciest gossip. But does that make them happy? Not as far as I can see. To be driven always by the opinion of others, to always need to have more, to perform, to impress, is to lose one's freedom, especially the freedom to be oneself. There is no peace there, and no sense of being loved for who one really is. To counter that, some people withdraw into a shell of cynicism. They just live their lives as they want, without reference to anyone or anything outside. Their ideal is an emotionless indifference. But that has its problems also. To live that way is to be trapped in a narrow, self-centered world lacking the emotional richness and fulfillment of a truly engaged life. Real indifference, the kind that brings true freedom and joy, is just the opposite. It means being so committed to something you believe in that nothing else matters except as a means to achieve the desired end. This is what we see in St. Paul in the first reading. For him, Christ is everything, and he is willing to endure suffering, rejection, every form of hardship, even death, as long as it serves to, quote, magnify Christ, that is, make Christ more visible and bring him closer through Paul's witness. As Paul wrote, to me, life is Christ, and death is gain. This is the ultimate freedom. There is nothing, not even the fear of death that hovers over all of us, that can keep Paul from giving his whole being to what he loves. That's what gives Paul his irresistible power and strength. This is a prescription for living a meaningful and impactful life. The great figures we admire in religion, public service, medicine, the military, even business, are those who had a vision of something greater than themselves, something good and noble to which they dedicated their lives, willing to take on every sacrifice, even the risk of death. There are many more quiet, unsung heroes that do the same. For example, when we were in Rome recently for the annual colloquium of the Gregorian University Foundation, we met Sister Stella Ikot from Nigeria, a member of the Congregation of the Handmaids of the Holy Child Jesus. Sister Stella spoke about her experience at the Gregorian University, where she came in 2016 to study canon law. It was a huge transition for her, coming to Rome, fitting into that very different environment, finding a place to live, and picking up Italian. The first year, when she had to learn Latin and Greek before she could begin her studies in her desired field, was especially discouraging. She would get up each morning thinking, "Oh no, another day of Latin and Greek." But then she would remember her goal of breaking new ground as a religious woman from Africa in canon law. She also drew encouragement from her professors, who she knew were waiting to help her. So she kept at it, day after day. Now she has her licentiate and doctorate in canon law and occupies a very important position as an official in the Dicastery for Divine Worship and the Discipline of the Sacraments, dealing with cases from all over the world on prayer, worship, and the proper celebration of the sacraments. She was able to fight through all the barriers she faced because her commitment to serving Christ, the Church, and her community was so strong. It's an inspiring example and one worth imitating.